George Scott's as well.
Oh yeah, everyone. Got a great guest on tonight. Brilliant he is, this fella. He's all know him. I remember me and Francine at a match and Steven Gerrard scored. And we both looked at each other and we were waiting for this particular fella to go. What did he say?
The one you like doing it.
Steven Gerrard. We loved him. We just looked at each other and he said it. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, this man. Great guest. I've got this one next to me anyways. I don't know where she came from. She just dropped in. Anyway, I'm going to bring this fella on. And there he is. The one and only. George Sheffield.
Hello.
Oh, there.
Oh, I've got all them things on your face.
Oh, yeah.
Tell you what, Frank, I'll give you 20 quid. You go to the pictures, and I'll just carry on with Francine. We'll be all right.
I said to her, I said, you get George on? She said, yeah. So, yeah, so that was it, you know, it was brilliant. So when she says, you know, I've got them for you. Can I just go through these before we start? Marie Stan, good evening, Frank and Co. These are from Montenegro, by the way. Today is Chris's birthday, so we will hope to be joining you later, but it's also a local holiday. I hope you get the email about the visit here. Best wishes, Marie Stan. Lee Wiz kid. Even if Frank and Francine. Even if Frank, have you been? I hope you've been. Well, feeling better. Yeah, I'm feeling good, Paul. Thank you. And Lee Wiz kid, the voice of Anfield. Hiya, George.
Hi, Gear Gorge. New fella.
And, do you know what, George? This fella comes from
Tampa.
Okay. Oh, you know.
I've never actually met the guy, but we communicate via good old social media. You don't talk to humans anymore, do you? You
no.
The street, you don't know what to do.
That's great. And Yusuf said, did you see Peplinter's interview with the Red Bed TV?
I did.
And Paul Turner. Wow, it's George Shefton. Evening, George.
Evening, Paul. You need to get out more, my friend.
And Colin Drake's George the legend.
Ditto. You've been drinking, Colin, or what?
Evening, Francie. Nice to see you again, says Paul Turner.
Hi, Paul.
And Redbirds LFC. Hello, Francine. Lovely to see you, girl. Oh, you too, Frankie boy and George. Oh, yeah, we're the afterthoughts here, George.
Yeah.
Greetings, folks. Hope to bring you the sun up from Tampa next week. See you all then, says Dennis Paparak.
Yeah, he's on the Cavan, isn't he, next 31st, I think.
Yeah. And TW, evening, Frank, Francine, and the voice of Anfield, George. So listen, George, what we'll be talking about tonight is famous moments, great moments, you know, of under the tenure of the great man himself.
Yeah.
Now you go back, don't you, to the Shanks days as well, and everybody, and I mean everybody, that I've spoken to, even young people like Francine, who knows about Shankly.
Yeah.
And we all tell her about Shankly. She's read about Shankly. She sees film of Shankly. And we all agree on one thing, that Jurgen Klopp was a mirror image of him in his personality and his love for the fans. What do you think? And the club, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, that Jurgen's the only manager, and I use that word carefully, is the only manager I think is fit to stand shoulder to shoulder with Bill Shankly. I did a long piece to German TV just before lockdown, and I said just that. Then I thought, I haven't mentioned the word Kenny, but Kenny Dalglish, he wasn't just a manager. He was a good manager. He won a silverware, did Kenny. But I don't think of him as a manager. I think of him as he's in a league of his own. He was a great player. Then he was a good manager. Then, obviously, a top draw human being during Hillsborough. And now he's a great ambassador for the club. He's a knight of the realm, for goodness sake. So he's in a league of his own. But as far as managers are concerned, the similarities between Shankly and Klopp are amazing. I mean, the charisma, they're both in the same league. If you'd never seen a football match in your life, you go in the same room as either of them, and you know this, you're talking to somebody special. You know, they've got an aura about them. And I think, you know, Jurgen's even sort of more in your face than Bill Shankly ever used to be. But I'd say he's a force of nature.
But the point is, George, don't you think, you know, when you said he's in your face more, Jurgen, it's because of social media and the technology that we have today and the interviews. You know, he's being interviewed more or less every day. The Shanks wasn't. The Shanks, you know, and I know, when we used to stand on the cop or wherever we sat or stood, he used to go around. The Shanks, he used to go around. And as one of the lads says, I hope you don't mind, I'll have to say about these lads. Steve Evans, he says, even if Frank Francine and George up their heads. Now, here's what Steve says. And don't forget Bob Paisley. We'll never forget Bob Paisley, ever.
But it's just the personalities, isn't it? 'Cause Bob was like a quiet man, wasn't he? And, you know, really successful within his 9 years. But we're on about personalities wise and just their own social standing and the thought process and how they come across, really. And just getting the Liverpool fans, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing that kept me going. In January, you know, the day that Jurgen said he was going, I was sat here, just, you know, having my breakfast, reading the paper, all that sort of stuff. And then I started getting text, and I put Sky Sports News on, and there's Jurgen sitting there saying, I'm leaving at the end of the season. And I was in shock. A lot of people have said to me, it was just like a death in the family. It really was. But my wife said to me, we've been through this before. Remember when Shankly left? All of a sudden, you got Bob Paisley, and then we started winning more silverware than anybody's ever done before or since. And I said, well, yeah, that's great. You know, I feel better now. Hopefully we'll be in good hands. I know, at least I hope I know, that Michael Edwards knows exactly what he's doing. And I feel sorry for this guy, Arne Slot, because he's got an awful big pair of shoes to fill. But we've been down this road before. You know, things happen and you think it's the end of the world, and it's not. But Shanks, obviously, you know, you wonder what Shankly would have done if he had social media. Then he was a different animal altogether. He was basically he was a gritty guy. He had lots of personality. He was so quiet. You compare him and Jurgen, it's chalk and cheese.
Well, I'll give you an analogy of, you know, what Klopp has to fit into.
Yeah.
You know, we fit into shoes. This fella has to fit in.
Yeah.
Yachts. If you know what I mean, the size of yachts.
That's right. That's right.
That's the enormous size of the shoes he has to fit in. And what you said about Bob, now don't forget, Bob worked with Shankly. Since Shankly came, Bob was always there at Anfield, and they worked together. They worked the system, they worked everything. They knew players inside out. Bob has a great eye for a player, as you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, the greatest example of all was Shankly's last signing, which was Ray Kennedy. And
Yeah.
when he came in, he went like that. He looked at Ray and went like that. You'll go midfield. And he was one of the greatest midfielders that we've ever had.
Well, Bob Paisley said that, didn't he? He was his best ever player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's what he said. But so that's where you think about Pep Linders, isn't it? Why didn't he take over? But then he done an interview saying that he's not qualified enough to take on the mantle of such a big club. So he's going to Salzburg and he's going to train up all these players because we're in with Redbird, aren't we?
Yeah.
And then he may come back. But now there's rumours that Klopp's coming back.
No, I don't think we'll ever see Jurgen. Well, he's promised, hasn't he? He'll never manage another English club. And he couldn't come back here now after the last few days. As it happened, I saw Pep on Thursday night last week. I had a chat to him, wished him good luck in Austria. And I said, I think we'll see you back here one day. And he just smiled quietly. He's on the golden road now. He's about to go off and do his apprenticeship. Basically, he's moved up one rung in the ladder. He's managing a club, not a backwater club by any stretch of the imagination, but we'll see. I mean, who'd have thought 3 or 4 years ago that Xabi Alonso would be winning the German league with a club that's not called Bayern Munich?
Yeah.
You just wouldn't have thought that in a million years. And now look at him. The loss last night for the first time in 51 games.
I know.
Yeah, and
that's his last game as well. If you know what I mean, his last game.
Absolutely.
And he gets beat by Atalanta, the team that defeated us. I was watching them today, live coverage. Atalanta coming home, and I wish them all the best, because in Italian, and someone went like, "Are you English?" I said, "Yeah." The word the wrong way around. Anyway, wish them all the best, and they said thanks because I said I was a Liverpool supporter, and once they beat Liverpool, I wish them well, and they've gone on and won it, which is great, because we're like that. We're like that, and there's a few comments as well saying about Atalanta and defeating Leverkusen last night. Xabi's team, and they were saying we wanted Xabi's team to win, not against Atalanta, but they wished them well nevertheless.
Well, a few months ago, we thought we might be seeing our current manager playing against our next manager, didn't we? At one stage when we were
we did.
Still playing ahead in the Europa League. But what got me last night was watching Ademola Lookman.
Yeah, I know. Scoring a hat-trick.
I remember seeing him a while ago when he first started, and I liked the look of him. No pun intended, but I thought this guy's got something, and he just didn't click. And all of a sudden, he goes off to Italy. And he's a superstar. I mean, they'll be queuing up during the summer to sign him. I'm sure he won't stay at Atalanta.
He's like a mini. He's probably the same size as Raheem Sterling. That's how he played. He seemed to me last night.
Raheem who? Sorry. I'm moving clubs to win the glory and the Champions League. Yeah, okay. Off you go, sunshine. But it was just amazing last night. He must have got good odds before the match on.
Well, I wondered what they were. I bet you the price must have been really good at the start of the Europa League to put on like £1.
Yeah.
Well, George, look at this. Because I do read out the comments, as you know, and we've discussed them. Youssef, he says, Kenny Dalglish as a player was better than Messi and Ronaldo combined, I was told.
Yeah,
before my time, though.
I seem to be talking to German media every other day the last couple of weeks. And somebody asked me who my favourite player was, and I said Kenny. And they said, no, not just Liverpool player, but all the players you've seen here. And I said, still Kenny. I've seen everybody. I think, I'm old enough to remember watching Pele play, in Goodison Park in '66. I only saw him once.
Me too.
But as far as the players have come to Anfield are concerned, we've had Cruyff, Messi, Suarez, you name it. I wouldn't swap Kenny for any of them. Really.
That's a great compliment to Kenny, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, George. I'm sorry to butt in, but I've always said, now, Steven Gerrard, and I remember being on LFC TV, I was on there, and he said to me, about great players, who do you think was great? I said, well, top of the mantle was always Kenny Dalglish. I said, but Stevie's taken over that mantle. And that's what I said. And I'll stick to that. But the point I'm making is here, the best player I've ever seen put a shirt on. You mentioned him there, not Kenny Dalglish, but Luis Suarez.
Yeah.
He was incredible. Just imagine him in this side, Jurgen Klopp's side, for a few seasons. I tell you what, we would have won more than what we did, or what Jurgen did.
Absolutely, I'm sure you're right. I mean, it's just a shame about Suarez. His hobby about biting other players. It ruined him. It ruined it for all of us. I mean, I remember the night I was at a dinner at Anfield the day he got banned for 8 games. We just heard the news on the way driving down, and we're saying 8 games. And of course, he misses 8 games, and we missed him, and then he disappears off somewhere. But it was just sad, because he's just one of those guys. He was a naturally gifted footballer. The only other player I've ever seen got such a gift for finding a goal, with his eyes shut and blindfolded, was Robbie Fowler. And they're both the same sort of type of player. The way they move and the whole shooting match.
Oh, I've got to introduce you. I always forget about him. Sorry, it's JK. He's he's a regular with me on this. And good evening, JK.
Evening, Frank. Evening, Francine, George. Nice to meet you guys. Evening. Hope you're well.
Yeah, but listen, we was just talking there. Obviously, you missed. I'm sorry there. I just never seen you.
No problem, bro.
Okay. We was just talking there about Kenny and Suarez and Stevie Gerrard, and there you've got your Steven Gerrard shirt on. So obviously, what did you think of Stevie? What did you think of him?
He was, for me, like, I used to play my game looking at him, how he used to play. I used to play that type of game. So for me, he was like a little idol, I think him having all that responsibility at the club made him a better player. He wasn't just involved in like winning teams all the time. He had a lot of battles and stuff like that. But for me, my favourite Liverpool player ever. And for me, I've seen Kenny play live and I've seen Suarez play live. And I think Suarez is the best player I've ever seen live with my own eyes. Just other things off the field and what he used to get up to sort of ruined that. But for me, Kenny Dalglish, him being player manager was the special thing about Kenny Dalglish.
I'm going to ask Francine, who's your favourite player, babe?
Mine, Suarez, as well. Steven Gerrard, in order. Steven, totally won games with a mediocre side. You've got to think of it was the anniversary of the West Ham game, which they call the Steven Gerrard. Then you had obviously the Champions League as well, when he scored and he went like that. Come on, that was the motivation and the way he carried. I mean, it's a wonder he never had a hump on his back for how many players he carried throughout his tenure at Liverpool. I seen an interview where he said like his biggest regret was not playing at least one season with Klopp.
Yeah.
Because obviously Brendan Rodgers put pay to that, didn't he?
Well, the point is as well, George, and I'll go to you on this. Imagine Steven Gerrard at his peak, playing under Klopp. What do you think would have happened?
When the opposition wouldn't bother turning up; it's just a waste of time. I mean, that's the sad thing about a couple of players, that they didn't come to us at the same time. If you go back and name your favourite 11,
no,
they're all spread out over 40, 50 years.
Exactly.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about Phil Thompson making his debut, and that was in the early 70s. That's 50 odd years ago now. But if you look back, and I mean, Stevie G, fantastic player, real. In the Shankly mode, Shanks used to say, you run through a brick wall and come out the other side and carry on playing. And Stevie G was like that.
Oh, phenomenal.
Sorry, go on, Frank.
Sorry, well, he's famous for like never winning a league, and but yeah, when people talk about the greatest ever Premier League midfielders, he's everyone's number one. Like above Lampard, Paul Scholes, because he was just an out and out, as you say, a machine. He was from when he made his debut, at 17. He had that little skinhead, didn't he? He was like all like gaunt, and and he was just phenomenal, amazing.
I'm gonna ask that. We're going to talk about Jürgen.
I know, we've just totally digressed.
We're going to talk about Jürgen and his tenure here. I'm going to go start with JK, then Francine, then finish with you on this particular comment, if you don't mind. Can I just comment here on what Steve Evans said? King Kenny, my childhood hero, did meet Keegan when I was really young, as he lived by us when he signed for Liverpool, but Kenny was my hero. So, you're not on your own there, George. No one is, He was one of the greatest, if not, well, he was the greatest, wasn't he, really? And the Redbird says King Kenny is still the king for me. And he carries on by saying Sir Bob Paisley. The way we had to knight him like we did Roger.
Yeah.
You know that. And Dennis says, I was out to lunch streaming TalkSport on the phone when the news broke. Nearly fell out of my chair at the restaurant. Hadn't felt like that since George Harrison passed. And you know that he's a great big Beatle fan.
Oh,
look who's there.
I felt like I've put this as a status, as if my husband had an affair with my best friend, threw me out of my house, made me homeless, and kept the dog. That's how devastated I am. And I've been like that. I've been on this like path since January. I just can't get over it. So if I feel like that, how Trent and Van Dijk and Alisson and Salah and all of them must feel, especially Trent, because he's done a lot for him,
He's had nobody else manage him, has he?
But the way Klopp is he cares, doesn't he? He gives you a hug. I'm a hugger. I love to give a hug. It means a lot.
It doesn't understand, like.
I'll be round in 10 minutes, Francine. All right. Stay still.
I'm too frail. Don't hug me. I'm too frail.
And that is such an impact on them players, and to leave, and that's what hurts me. It's like, but you've gone.
Well, okay, I'll just Edward's first job was to tie down Trent, Virgil, and Salah ASAP, and that comes from Gareth, and we'll talk about that later. But here's me question to you all. I'll start with you, JK. What's your finest moment under Klopp? Your finest moment.
The finals would have to be the Champions League win against Tottenham. Just winning another Champions League for me it's just big. For me, my favourite trophy. But there's a few moments I loved, like the Barcelona game, the Premier League title after 30 years. We could write a book about it, the list, So also being at his first game that he won as Liverpool manager at Bournemouth, very special moment for me. So there's loads of things that Klopp brought to Liverpool, and I think him hugging the players gave them that extra energy to sort of play better. They know they had a manager who's like their old man. You can go to him probably with their problems. He probably brought them up as his sons, like Trent and the younger players and stuff. So I don't think we will see another Klopp again in a long time.
Okay, no, that's a fair comment. That's a great comment. Yeah. What about you, Francine? What's your finest moment?
Mine would be the league. It's so unfortunate that it was during COVID, but I wanted that so much for years, and we've been gracious that we did see a Champions League in 2005, and obviously all the comeback games, Dortmund, or playing Dortmund, brilliant, all them. But for me, it's winning the league.
Okay. Yeah. George, what's yours?
I can't get past the Barcelona semi-final. When we came back from 3-0 down and beat them, gave them a good hiding at Anfield. I really can't. That was such an amazing night. I've said to a few people, you couldn't have, if you'd written a script for that and put it in a boy's own comic, they would have said it was just too far-fetched to be true and thrown it in the bin. But we did it. We all sat there and watched it happen.
It's the Trent corner, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the one.
I can still see that now. I close my eyes. I can see him. The ball boy, Oakley, Cannonier, and you were throwing the ball, him to Trent. Trent walks away back again, dink, dink, and it's in the back of the net. And I didn't announce the goal because I thought the referee was going to say you take me too quickly. Mm-hmm. But there was only Trent and the ball boy and Divock Origi were actually awake. Yeah. Everybody else just standing there watching this ball flying past them. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. Never will again.
That's something that you couldn't. No, Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona was even that. That's iconic. That goal is just, and we just for that goal we deserved it. Just for that we deserved that famous photograph of Messi with the sign with Liverpool 4, Barcelona 0. Just for that goal was just amazing.
Well, my favourite moment was mirror image of yours, George, Barca game.
Yeah,
that was the most. The greatest comeback in a final, as Maradona said, was 2005 final. The greatest comeback, and I always remember when you watch replays and everything else, and the commentator said nobody has to come out. Nobody has ever done, got this score and went on to win. Nobody in the history of the Champions League and European Cup and whatever, nobody's ever turned over a score of such magnitude. And at the end, we did. And Mo Salah coming on with his little T-shirt, never give up. Just unbelievable song to me. That was the greatest.
just unbelievable. Because I must throw in my other favourite moment with Jurgen, which was away from any football pitches when I was on Channel 4 and he suddenly appeared on a big screen behind me telling the world that I was an LFC legend. I mean, if my Dickie Hart got through that, it'll get through anything. I mean, God bless him. That's the difference between Shanks retiring and Jurgen leaving is I owe Jurgen in spades. You know, I owe the fella for what he's done for me personally. Shanks didn't do anything for me personally. He did a lot for my club. Obviously, he brought us back from being a mediocre club in the tatty old stadium in the second division to being, top European team. But Jurgen, I say with him, it's personal.
Of course, but when you look at the Shanks, I know we're talking about Jurgen, it's like, it reminds me of Rafa actually, in a way, and I'll tell you for why. Shankly, he won the FA Cup for the first time.
Yeah.
For Liverpool Football Club.
That's right.
Beat a very strong Leeds side. They were a great side, the likes of Billy Bremer, Bobby Collins.
No one said, was it?
They were an incredible side.
They were.
Side. So, for me, and why I said Rafa, I have to bring him into the equation. When Rafa took over, we didn't know what to expect. No. But we knew that he was a good manager because he won the league with Valencia.
Yeah.
He won the league with them. And his first season, he won the Champions League. And Olympiacos, what a game. Steven Gerrard again.
Yeah.
Steven Gerrard.
That's right. Well, that was...
Go on, George, sorry.
I was going to say, there's a program on LFC TV a few years ago, and that when Stevie scored that goal, when we thought we were going out of the competition, when I announced that goal, I was hysterical. I don't do hysterical. So I completely was screaming and shouting. I just couldn't believe what I was watching. But oh dear God, what an night!
We've
seen over the years.
It still gets here, anything like that. But as I said, we're talking about poor old Jurgen here. And so, as I said, Barca was I can't look past that. I really can't. But here's what I said. We were the better side over there. We were the better side. And that scoreline of 3-0 flattered them.
Yeah.
Flattered them. And but I always had this thought behind me, this little doubt that they will score and that could put pay to us. And I said, let's go out, let's go down fighting. Let's go down fighting. So my expectations were blown away with that particular game under Jurgen. And Jurgen has had some unbelievable games. I'll ask our Francine, then you, George, then JK. I'll ask our Francine, under Klopp, I know this may sound, but what's the best game you've ever seen under Klopp, Liverpool play?
I'd say Man City, Champions League. We've always been the underdogs. We don't win at I was going to say Main Road then. We don't win at the Etihad, and everyone plays a blinder. So I draw a blank. This is my old age. Alex, is it Alex Chamberlain? Oxlade Chamberlain as a blinder. So that's my favourite game.
Okay. JK.
I would go, it has to be the Barcelona game. for me, the best game, you know, that had everything. They had Messi and Suarez in their team, and they didn't do nothing. I think that's what the only thing. I wish we won the Champions League that season. I think that game deserved for us to win it. You know, I think that just took the shine away from that game. I think if we went on to win it, that Barcelona game probably would have been probably our best ever game ever. So, but for me, that was my most. It just showed what Klopp brought to the team. That fight, you know, you're losing 3-0 away in the first leg, come back and win it. Not a lot of teams can do that. And
that's
Klopp,
motivation and confidence.
Yeah.
That's what you instill.
Exactly, and that's I wouldn't say he's had the big signings, but what Klopp does, but he brings that energy into the players, and that's worth probably more than the fee. You know, you can't really buy that sort of energy that Klopp brings. Not every manager's got that energy. So that Barcelona game was for me a special game, and it just showed Klopp's game as a manager.
Okay, George. Besides the Barca game, what's your favourite game under Klopp?
Probably the Dortmund game. You know, again, Dan Lovren of all people scoring. You know, I mean, from my angle, you know where my little room is in the Kenny Dalglish stand. From my angle, it was like watching the charge of the Light Brigade towards the end of the game. I should have stopped and counted. I swear blind. There was at least 20 Liverpool players coming forward towards the end, and then wallop, it was in. There was no way we weren't going to score that. And Lovren did it. That was cracking game. It's one of those that they always say the pet saying on the TV, the great game for the neutral. If you didn't care, you would have thought it was fantastic. If you got high blood pressure and you follow Liverpool, it's not a good game. Think, oh no, not again. I'm looking forward to the day we score 8 goals with no reply in the first 20 minutes. I can just relax. I don't do it. People say to me every flaming game now, I'll go in through my Kenny Dalglish stand reception, and there'll be some guy in a suit saying, "Enjoy the game." And I say, I don't enjoy games anymore. I survive games. I enjoy results, but the games, they're just so stressful nowadays. I don't,
Absolutely. Do you know what my favourite is? And it wasn't at Anfield. And it's only what you call blood pressure and everything else.
Yeah.
And it was the West Brom game away.
Oh, the late goal. Yeah.
We had to score. To score. Big Ali came up and scored.
Yeah.
I can't hardly walk now. I should have seen me jumping up and down.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That video's been going around the internet the last few days because it was the anniversary, wasn't it? The date we did it. And that was just thinking. Again, that was like the Trent goal. You couldn't have written the script for that.
Well, wasn't it?
Keepers come up and they glaze the ball over the bar or whatever, but Alisson, perfect header, perfect.
Wasn't it Klopp's favourite goal?
I think you're right there. Yes, I'm sure I heard him say that last few days.
And Trent's corner was his favourite,
Yeah. Yes.
It's his favourite plan. Yeah, it wasn't even a plan, was it? Because it was just one of those things that the likes of Trent did and Origi. Even, what's his name?
Shaqiri.
He was walking away, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was walking away. He was getting over towards the middle of the 18-yard box.
Yeah.
Waiting for the loose ball to come out, hopefully, to him. And he was walking away. And he took it, and that's when he had taken the and you see Ter Stegen, he's organising his defence. The ball just came that quick, and I think he was so unbelievable when he put it in. Unbelievable.
Well, I think with Alisson's goal, didn't his dad just die as well? Wasn't that why there was a lot of emotion with it as well?
It wasn't long after his dad had died.
Yeah. His dad
At
passed.
the same time, didn't Jurgen's mum and Alison's dad both died.
Yeah.
Same circumstance. That i.e. they couldn't go home for the funeral because of COVID and all the rest of it. It was.
Can I just? Sorry. Can I just go on about a couple of comments, please?
Yeah.
Need them out. Herbert Long's brother. We've been worried about you, Herbert Long's brother. We haven't heard from you for yonks. Anyway, I went to the Empire to see Shankly last game, 1974 Cup final with Kevin Keegan. There were some great stories about the Shanks, but reminded me of you, George. Didn't you sign on the same day as Keegan in 1971? Is that true?
That's right. We both started working. I should point out, I've never signed anything. In theory, I'm still on trial. Really and truly, nobody has ever come to me and said, "Okay, son, the job's yours." It was Kevin's first game, first team game for Liverpool. Well, no, I remember him coming on. He got stuck in straight away. He was Kevin Keegan as we know and love him from the word go. I remember somebody standing behind me saying that new kid's a bit of a tiger, isn't he? And there you go. The way it worked out was brilliant. I saw him just before Christmas. Actually, I was at a function with him in the Hotel Anfield. And he's so funny. He's really. I was amazed how good a speaker he was, and I never had him down as a public speaker. But he was really clever. He told some great stories, and he was very funny as well. But the funniest thing, I must tell you, the funniest thing of all, before that do, I bought 3 copies of his autobiography on eBay. And on the night, I got him to sign them all, and we auctioned them off for the charity which is great. Then I said, "I've got a present for you," and I had one of my books, and I gave him, and he looked at me and said, "I hope you're going to sign that for me." And I'm thinking, this isn't supposed to be the way things go.
Yeah.
Just at that point, Peter, who owns the Hotel Anfield, came in the room, and he's looking, and I'm signing a book and giving it to Kevin. And Peter said, "Excuse me, what is this? You are signing a book for Kevin Keegan?" I said, "Yeah, it happens all the time." And the look on his face was priceless. Kevin is wonderful. I know he's obviously he's aged a bit, but the Kevin Keegan we all know and love is just the same as he always was. He's that little smiler, really is. God bless him. And then again, talking about people leaving the club. Remember when Kevin went? We thought that was the end of the world. Good old Bob, wanders up to Glasgow on the quiet with his checkbook, comes back with this guy Kenny Dalglish we knew nothing about, and now look, you couldn't. You say you couldn't make it up. This is why we love football.
Yeah, that's the way we have to look. I'm going to start with you, George. I'll just read this out. Leverkusen by Steve Evans. Leverkusen got schooled last night. Atalanta did a real job on them, as they did. Us at Anfield, fair play. Good luck to Xabi for Saturday anyway. But this is all about us on the next chapter. We need a world-class DM and another centre-back to come in. Looks like we're looking at a new keeper also with Kelleher, obviously, and Adrian going. This is what I want to say. I'm going to start with you. All right, there's the Aiton Fatties. Hiya, John. Evening, chaps. The Aiton Fatties. These are our great people. And, we were talking about great players. Neil Broderick, Suarez for me.
Yeah.
John, the Aiton Fatties, Jimmy Traore for me.
He's been drinking.
Jimmy Traore. You couldn't even make these up, could you? Absolutely brilliant. Dino. Even in Frank, hope you're okay, mate. John Barnes was my first football hero, but I'm not going to lie. I love McManaman because of how he left us. It's forgotten how good he was. My greatest ever, Steven Gerrard for me.
Yeah.
Has everything. There's nothing he couldn't do. And Flinty Tim, is that fancy?
Yeah.
Flinty Tim. Hello. And the Red Machine. Hello. Midnight Soaker. Greetings. Yeah, and the Eighton Fatties, I'll just go down there. I was on my way to the barbers when the news broke about Jürgen. I had to pull over to take it all in. The city felt like it was in mourning. That's how I felt to me. Funny enough, I forget who was talking to Fancy. And, he phoned me up, chatting away. And he said, what it felt like to me, he said, when he heard John Lennon had been killed. That's what he said.
Yeah.
From Jürgen leaving to the likes of...
I thought he'd change his mind. I really thought.
Too much politics gone on.
But
too much gone on.
Too much competition. But anyway, he was worshipped, as Paul Turner says. He was worshipped at Mainz, Dortmund, and at Liverpool. Just goes to show what a special person he is. And I'm envious of the next club he gets him. They are very lucky to have him. Do you know where I think he'll go?
I just hope he doesn't go to Real Madrid and then he knock us out the Champions League.
I think he will. He's got his house in Mallorca. He'll be living in Spain. As you know, I know that's a Balearic island. I do know that. And when Ancelotti leaves next season, sabbatical.
Yeah.
I think that.
I think he'll sign in January. Wherever he goes, he loves a January signer.
Leader WizKid says too many best moments. Barca, the UCL, Club World Cup, Leicester 4-0, the Prem. Man, so many. He says Red Bear 4-0 Barca always comes to mind first, and it does. I'm going to ask you, George, this. I'm going to ask you, George. Start you, or shall I start you, go, France?
Yeah, because I've got to go. Yeah. I've got to go at 9. I've got a gig. I'm a comedian, aren't I? Well, I'll use that word loosely, to be fair.
I'm really sad to be very rude, Well, break a leg, what I always say.
I've got a weak ankle, George, but thank you. I have got a weak ankle.
No, I'm not saying you haven't, Francine. I'm not saying you haven't. Anyway, I'm going to ask you, who are the three main players that we should have for next season? I mean present players today at Liverpool. 3.
Oh, you mean who we've got to keep?
Yeah.
Trent. Throw him in midfield. I'm going to have to say Salah, because even though people are saying that he's not on form, he's a 20-plus goal scorer, his assists, everything. And I've got to say Virgil van Dijk.
Okay.
I can't see anyone replacing Salah. And I know people are like, oh, he's lost his pace, he's this, he doesn't look. But even when he's not on his best, he does assist.
He's our leading goal scorer.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So what about you, JK?
For me, the spine, Alisson, Virgil and Salah. Got to keep hold of them 3, yeah.
There you go. George.
Virgil, Virgil's got to be top of the pile. We've got a couple of years left of him, and he's still, the player he was when he came to us. It's just a joy to watch him. Every other centre back we've had over the years, they've been part of a twosome. You couldn't name them without naming their partner. Virgil, you name him and another, so we've got to keep him. We'll be struggling when he's gone, unless one of the. I mean, Jadla Quansar's got to start to show the makings, but he needs some more. Get a lot more games onto his bonnet before he can do that. I'm not convinced about Mo. I think he's lost his. Lost something along the way. He might prove us all wrong. Ditto Darwin Núñez. He might go out and score 30 goals next year. We can't go on. Missing the ball by 6 inches forever. But
it feels like he has now for 2 seasons.
Yeah, and you said it's the old Shankly spine, isn't it? Goalkeeper, centre back, centre forward. If you got them going, you're halfway to having a great team, and we've got some cracking players in the wings. I say Trent. Definitely, but he's going to move into midfield shortly. Connor Bradley must be the find of the century. When he came in the first time, you thought, who's this kid? And then a fortnight later, you think, we can't do without him. He's the first name he put on the team sheet. So,
fair, George, the kid's done better this season than the first team.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it was because of Jurgen's leaving knocked the players. And I know what you're saying about Salah as well. There's something missing. There's been something missing for a couple of seasons, especially when he come back from AFCON. It seems to chip away at him a bit more and a bit more. But even with that, he scores 20-odd goals a season and the assist. That's the only thing.
That's all pretty well, but he could quite well have scored 30-odd goals. He's missed some absolute nailed-on chances, or what nailed-on chances for him this year. I don't know what the problem is.
Well, anyway, I'm going to my 3 players.
Yeah.
Francina's going now. Yeah. I've got to let it out.
Just hang on a sec while I get the tissue.
Oh yeah, look at this. Goes out to a gig, Joe. Cameron gets out to a gig.
He'll be on yours then, will he?
All these all the lads to be talking to. Anyway, my three is the Verge, Bent, and Mo.
Yeah.
Simply because why I picked Mo is because he's our leading goal scorer, and he has been for the last 7 years, and we can't do without him. If we can get a player that's going to score 1 million goals,
because you can't rely on Núñez or Diaz, and I love Jota, but Jota's really injury prone.
He spends more time in the hospitals than nurses, doesn't he? That guy it's very sad.
We so miss Mane as well. He was another 20 plus. We missed that, and I think with Mo, that they had that love-hate relationship, Mane and Mo, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, it was great. The 3 of them, Firmino.
Yeah. Well, I think with Salah, I think once Mane left, that rivalry went, so no one was trying to get the one-upmanship. You know what I mean?
Very good point.
Because Diaz, he gets in great positions, but another one doesn't. He's not consistently scoring all the time, and sometimes he runs along the 18-yard box and then doesn't find where he's going. But as a out now, he's a grafter, and he's been one of our best players. He runs. He's non-stop. But
well, I'll just say something about Mane, Salah, and Bobby. At the time, do you know when you look back at players and formations and whatever, you say we didn't realise what we had.
Yeah.
But we realised what we had then with those three. We knew that they were absolutely outstanding, the best in the world. And I said at the time, defences are terrified of them coming at the defences. And I was proved right. And we do, you know, that's right. Are you going then?
Yeah. Oh, he's getting rid of me now.
But you said you've got to
I've
go.
got to go. But I've got to go to the loo as well. Sorry for that. Too much information. Go on. You go back.
Thanks, Francis. But I'll have to let you know.
Yeah, you get in a comfy chair, Frank.
Oh,
I was going to say just then that I saw Phil Thompson on Saturday night, and he was talking to a crowd at the Hotel Tier, and all of a sudden we were talking about Jurgen. Obviously, all of a sudden he says, "I hate Jurgen Klopp," and everybody sort of went, "What?" And then we think, "What's he going on about?" But what he said was quite pertinent, actually. He said, when Jurgen arrived, every time Phil went to the training ground, there's a thing on the wall, a list of the youngest players ever to play for Liverpool. And he said, I think Phil was third or fourth when Jurgen came. Now he goes in the training ground, and I think he's 26th or something.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Joe. I'll have to
Do you know where my phone is?
She's mislaid the phone.
Can't be done. You go and ring her phone, she'll find it.
Oh, do you know what now?
What's it doing over there?
Oh, because I just did. Sorry, bye.
Missing you already. Oh, you go, Frank, for goodness sake, without trouble.
You can carry on, George, what you were saying. I'll quickly read Paul Turner's comment out about. I remember Milner saying in the dressing room before the Barcelona game, if anyone can do it, we can especially do it with the crowd behind us. So you have, on numerous occasions, been at Anfield. Was that probably the most enjoyable as a fan? George?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. As I said to you before, enjoy isn't the word that springs to mind nowadays. You know, they make us sweat for every last point, every last goal. They can't just sort of turn up and give somebody a good idea and go home again, whenever. But I say that's, you know, the aftermath of the Barcelona game was just amazing. You know, I think I floated home from that one. Didn't drive home, just floated about 6 foot above the ground. It was so good. But, anyway, here's Frank.
Sorry, there's yet.
That's okay.
Beauty, isn't she? Amazed up with this thumbnail. Look at this. Isn't that fantastic?
Absolutely.
You know, all the cups there. Well, JK did that.
Yeah.
JK did the wonderful thumbnail. But anyway, listen, you know, like, you know, we spoke about players. Who's the most, when Jurgen came into our club, who's the most improved player that he made?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. You'd probably have to say Trent, wouldn't you? Really, because he was a wet behind the ears kid. And,
yeah, certainly was.
Look at him now. Your first name on the team sheet normally, playing for England. You'd be amazed if he doesn't make the Euro. As I say, that's why he was so upset on Sunday, because it suddenly hit him that the only manager who's ever known at Liverpool is on his bike, and he'll feel the cold wind before anybody else does, or more than anybody else, I think.
He was like a dad to him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I was talking to Karen Gill a few years ago on the steps of St George's Hall, and she was talking about her granddad. And I said, you know what? I said, we were all young. I said, but your granddad was like a dad to us. He embraced us.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what. That's why I compared him to the Shanks.
Yeah.
And their personality. And even his social views, social outlook. And that's why I looked at Jurgen. And you're right. Who would you say? I'll come back to my improved player. Who would you say improved under Jurgen? JK.
I would go with Robertson because of the fee, the down the pub fee. So, and from where he came from and where he ended up, probably being the best left back in the world at a time. He had the most assists as well. So for me, Robertson.
I'll tell you mine. And we have mentioned them, but Francine did. Was Mane.
Yeah.
He made Mane into a great player. I don't care what anyone says. Mane was good when he came, but he was better under Klopp. He moulded him into something special. Like he moulded every player into something special. But Mane stood out for me. He really did. I think he was absolutely. And when we were talking about games and that, and Yusuf says Origi versus Everton, the moments. What was you like, George? I've got to ask you, what was you like, George, when Origi scored that goal?
Unbelievable. Absolutely. Yeah, that was another one. I mean, that was right under my nose where I sit, and you think, good grief, that you could, again, if you're doing that in a music hall, it was a really good trick to do. But just watching Pickford's face afterwards was priceless too. But there you go.
He's blaming his defence.
Yeah.
He's blaming his defence. He's pointing it out. It was him, soft lad. Instead of just going like that, put us over the bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a cracker, that. And he had it, is the red machine, and he says, can't beat Alisson's save versus Napoli. That's another one. Yeah. That's another moment. That's a cracker, that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Milner saying in the dressing room before the Barcelona game, if anyone can do it, we can. Especially with this crowd behind us. What a prophecy that was.
Mm-hmm.
What a prophecy. Absolutely amazing. With the Barcelona game, says Steve Evans, I saw Alan Kennedy the day after losing 3-0 at the Nou Camp, and I said we were beating them next week 5-1. He shook his head, laughed, and I said, mark my words. Mark my words, we'll beat them. But he said 5-1. As I said, I never said we beat them, I'm being honest. I just said, I said we'd win. I said we'd beat them, but I was afraid there was always that little thing in the head saying that these had scored this lot. And when they got that free kick, remember Messi? I thought, oh no. I just hope it doesn't be a reminiscence of his penalty kick, his free kick from the week before. But went out. Blocked. That was a great. Dennis Paparak, Barca, was running up and down the halls of the office colleagues thinking I'm more mental than usual. That's really, unbeaten Barca, because don't forget, we're 7 hours ahead of them. Fantastic. Decisions need to be made with Núñez and Diaz and Just Used to. He says, my favourite moment is Salah's daughter getting cheered by Anfield.
Good.
Yeah, do you remember that in the cup? She
That's
kicked it into the cup, didn't she?
right.
Went, and that was brilliant. Did he get the golden boot that day, or was it him and Mane who received it? I forget.
Your memory's better than mine, Frank, and that's
Yeah, I know we got the golden boot, but I didn't know whether he shared it or what. I'm not quite so sure. Item Fatties, John Jürgen has left us in good shape.
Yeah.
JK.
I would say the injury crisis that we had sort of gave Klopp an opportunity to bring the young guys through. So you had Bradley, Kwanzaa, Elliott getting a lot of game time, and it sort of it gave me a good mood, saying, you know what, it's good to see this. But Klopp's always sort of played youth players here and there, but this season sort of gave him the opportunity to show what he's been doing behind the scenes with the youth players, and they're pretty good, some of them.
Okay. What about you, George?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a good squad. We've got some, up and coming little stars there. Obviously, Mr. Slot will have his own ideas about who he wants to bring in. He's not stupid. He will have spoken to FSG about how much money he's got to spend, and he'll have his own ideas about who's going to stay and who's going to go. But let's see what happens. I spoke to Sander Westerveld on Tuesday, I think it was, and he said he's good friends with Arne Slot, and he said we're in safe hands. He said that's he's quite happy, and obviously he cares about the club like the rest of us, and I just hope that the Anfield faithful will give Arne Slot a while to dig in. He's got a huge job to do, but again, I go back to my pet saying, Michael Edwards, sorry, Martin Edwards, that's a Freudian slip, isn't it?
I always say Martin Edwards.
Yeah. He knows what he's doing. This is the guy who brought Jurgen in when nobody knew what word was coming, and he's gone through. He's made fools of all of us. The papers were saying, that Xabi was a shoe-in. And then they were saying this Portuguese guy, Amorim, was definitely coming, and then that all disappeared. And then he turns up with somebody nobody over here knew anything about, to be honest, and there he is. And his attitude's right. He talks the talk, so let's see if he can walk the walk. And he's brought pre-season training forward a week, hasn't he? Which is the most sensible thing. So he's got more time to spend with the players, and he's got to hope on the sly. I'm sure he's hoping that all the Liverpool players involved in competitions around the world will get knocked out at the very early stage and come home and get stuck in, because it's always a worry the first couple of weeks of the season when you've got players who have had no rest at all, and he seems to be addressing that problem already.
Yeah, but you've got the Euros, haven't you? And you've got now, besides Trent, you've got the Curtis, and you've got the other fella who's being picked as well. So,
I suspect Doak is just being taken along for the ride at the moment, but Curtis, I must admit, no disrespect to Curtis, I was surprised when he was drafted into the squad, but again, we'll see. We'll see what happens during the summer. Obviously, I want England to do well. I know a lot of people don't, and I never understand that. But
I don't. I'm not into that. I've never supported. It's like someone asking me about Everton or whatever.
Yeah.
If they were in a cup, I wouldn't. I'm being honest, I wouldn't give a toss. Well, don't you want them to win for the city? Don't give a toss. I don't give a toss about any other team. And nationally, only through my mother, on my mother's side of the family, I've always supported the Azzurri. I've always supported Italy.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, supported the Azzurri. So, I just don't support them. And obviously, George, why some people don't support England, I'll give you the reason. I'm not saying all. Is they've said, how could we stand there next to these England supporters who come to Anfield and start singing, murderers, who start singing in your bin dippers, who start chanting, sign on in your Liverpool slums. How can you stand next to them supporting England?
Can't. The problem is not them, not us. It's them. We don't. But we're still English. I certainly want England to win if it was a toss up.
Yeah, it's your nationality.
I'm not an England supporter. I'm English. That's the bottom line. So I'll be very happy if, for instance, Phil Foden goes down with some horrible disease the first couple of days. But I don't understand how he still played for England after what he did during COVID. But there you go. I say, but in the good old days when you still could, I used to go around with a red and white flag attached to my car during competitions. But you can't do that anymore. You get your windows stowed in, which is a sad situation as far as I'm concerned. But not just an age thing with me. As you know, I'm an awful lot older than you, Frank. So I remember when it mattered.
Of course, no. And you know what? We were talking about England, and we were talking about two flags.
Yeah.
Two banners. I'm sorry, two banners. Yeah. And the first banners I've ever seen, one that stood out to me was, there was other banners besides that, but one that stood out. And the first banner was watching the World Cup final in 1966.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It's only come up recently on one of the social networks. And I said at the time, I always remember watching the final on the telly, black and white. Yeah. And a banner came up and it said, next to Liverpool, England are the greatest. That was in 1966. Mm. That was the first banner I ever seen. Then the other banner.
I remember that, yeah.
Was the other banner that resonates with me and still does. And I mentioned it, and someone got hold of me and said, I was the kid. He got old. I said, go away. He says, I was the kid old enough. And you know what it was? Shankly lives forever.
Yeah.
Two banners. That, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I was talking about banners. I'll start with JK. JK, what's your favourite banner that you've seen at Anfield?
Is that one that's the biggest? Where the fans sort of pass it behind the head?
That one.
Yeah, that one. Because everyone's got a piece of it,
That's incredible, that is incredible. It doesn't have to be during the Jürgen years either. Because I've got besides that, Shankly lives forever. I've got one. And what's yours, George? What stands out to you when you've got
the famous one that Joey made the
there you go.
Frog's leg Munch Gladbach the whole match. It was, I've seen that recently. They rolled it out of store. Function I was at in town a couple of years ago, and somebody's got it hidden away somewhere. But they obviously there's been a bit of to do about people bringing banners into the ground, doesn't it? The last 12 months or so. But I think that's all settled now. I don't know why.
I hope so. I hope so. This is what Liverpool are all about, George, as you know. This is what the fans are all about. And one of the greatest I've seen was, if you think this is hell, you want to go to
yes.
on a Friday night.
Friday night. God, I've forgotten about that one.
Come on, who can
Yeah.
make that up? Only the Scousers can make that up.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
That's-
So they're great things.
oh
Great
God, yeah,
things.
I'd forgotten about that. That was
I know it's, but Joey munching Gladbachs,
yeah.
making the frogs roll.
Yeah.
It's
He made the Swiss roll and at the
I
front.
get a Swiss roll. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah,
The
mate.
banner was so long. Oh, now they got it in. I don't know how they got it to the ground. Even it's so big, but that was a club. But that was when I think the wider world got introduced to proper banners, didn't they? Because people used to turn up with all sorts of odd little things, but that was an absolute classic. We started a trend there. You see a lot of these continental grounds, like when we're playing away in Europe now, watching them on the TV. Some horrendous, huge banners draped over the upper, the front of the upper stands. They're just amazing. I just don't know how these guys do it, but there are a few people who make a career out of it and make some wonderful, wonderful bits of kit.
What did you think of the mosaic? On the day Jürgen was leaving,
Yeah, well, luckily I had a monitor. I could watch it on there because it was sideways onto me, so I couldn't see it the original. But then when you look on the TV and the camera at the far end of the ground, it's fantastic.
It was absolutely amazing.
One of the white squares that somebody rescued for me, which is it's in my desk downstairs. It's going in
really
a little box of treasures when I get round to it. But only Anfield can do things like that. I mean, other people they try, but you watch them on Sunday. You listen to it, and they were absolutely amazing. The atmosphere on Sunday and the noise from the Kop was the most I've heard for years.
Can I just do a few things here?
You carry on. Yeah.
One of our Liverpool fans has come out with this design, part of our DNA. Isn't that absolutely fantastic?
Absolutely.
And look at this, Michael Dean and Michelle Dean. People say, "Did they pay you?" I don't know. It's just small businesses. I support small businesses. That's what I do. And look at that, what scarf, but Simon Rimmer there. I was on LFC TV with him,
Yeah.
And anyway, he made this cheesecake. And no one was it. I said, "Can I take that home?" He went, "Yeah." And he went, "Do you know what?" I said, "What?" He said, "My parents love you." I said, "They don't know me." He said, "They do. They listen to you." And it was really nice. A lovely fella.
He's a lovely guy. I've never actually met him. I'm Facebook friends with him. I've got his home address in my little address book here. And I watch him, religiously every Sunday on the Sunday brunch. And I was upset the day I went over to Leeds to go on Channel 4 on Steph's Packed Lunch. I was hoping that he'd be the chef that day, and I missed him by a day. I was fuming.
You missed him.
Yeah.
That's all. And what you've got there is Marios Manzos, the social one. Why Jürgen Klopp was a perfect fit for Liverpool. Incredible. Why Jürgen Klopp was a perfect fit for Liverpool. I think that, what a headline, what a beautiful thing. And Jeff Goulden and his wonderful books as well. And the Lost Shankly Boy. He was supposed to come on tonight, JK, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
The Lost Shankly Boy, George Scott's Anfield Journey. It's a cracker book, actually. It really is. It's a good one.
What of him a few weeks ago? Oh, that looks familiar.
Who's this fella here? Who's this cheeky little fella?
No,
Who's this? So we do, we put them up. A fantastic book written by a true LFC legend, says Jürgen Klopp.
Yeah, when he said that, I said to my wife when we got home, "You can shoot me now because nothing is going to really nothing, absolutely nothing." But yeah, it's still on Amazon, folks. If anybody hasn't got one, but, yeah, that was.
No, we
do
do it, George. We do. Just put it up because the books are absolutely amazing. Every one of them. And Jeff Goulden, he's just brought another one out, and it's about the Liverpool Championship side when they first won the league. Going back to the early part of the 20th century.
Yeah.
And we had dreams and songs to sing. I love that title. We had dreams and songs to sing. By Keith Salmon. Beautiful. Oh, that's being done, That's being done.
Liverpool's new signings.
Yeah.
Next season.
That's our new centre-back. But you've got these lads, you've got them, you've got all the supporters. I just want to go through a few comments, if I might, boys, please. As Martin says, Martin McGrath, Klopp brought us back and put us back at the top, hoping Garn can take over. He's certainly taking over a much better side.
True.
Another 5 Jürgen moments, says Steve Evans, was the night he got the freedom of the city and I worked the event with the biggest smile and beam and pride in one of the greatest socialists and one of the greatest socialists I've ever met. That's beautiful said. That well said, Steve. Steve Evans, says Dean O'Brien. I'd been the supporters club to watch it and was walking up Queen's Drive and remember seeing you walking your dog. Never felt so dejected in my life following the Reds. That's when he left. Midnight Choker. Jürgen got the fat lady singing again in terms of success, but for that 115 club, it might have been a lot more. Not that I'm bitter about it, says
I am.
Choker. We all are, to be honest. Let's be honest. All the love I saw in that moment will top any footballing moment for me, says Yusuke. It's incredible. I'll miss Klopp's fist pumps, says the Redbird. Klopp's statue has to be the first.
Has to be with the fist pumps. Yeah.
It's strange, that, isn't it? How would you have them? You've got Shankly like this, haven't you? And if they did do a statue, would it be the fist pumps?
I think it was made for a statue.
Yeah.
For me, the hamstring one. After we scored against Tottenham.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
I love the Paisley one, where he's carrying off. I was there that day, and his leg was steaming in blood. Never forget that. Oxlade-Chamberlain loved the game against City. Certainly did. What did you think about that game? Going back to that game, Manchester City, when we beat them 3-0 at Anfield, George. What was your feeling watching that? We demolished them.
it was, I don't know, just relief, I think, to get, put them back in their box for 5 minutes. I mean, I was going to say I hate City, but I just dislike the whole setup. I just don't like what they're doing to football as a club. I don't like their attitude. I mean, where do you start? I mean, I remember, the day they were taken over, I remember there was a guy being interviewed on, must have been BBC Look Northwest or whatever, and he's got a big smile on his face, and he's saying City are now the richest club in the world. And I thought, yippee, is that what it's all about? And as far as they're concerned, that is what it's all about. And they've, I wish these charges would get sorted one way or the other. And I just hope, I keep reading things that make me think that the Premier League or the FA or whoever's responsible is actually thinking about doing something. They're going to have to grit their teeth. There'll be lawyers chasing them forevermore. But even so, they've got to get on with it. But the attitude of the place. I mean, when we was beaten in the cup semi-final, was it a couple of years ago, and I was on Radio 5 that morning, and there was me and some woman, City supporter, and she was going on about them being the greatest fans in the. And I thought, don't be stupid. Whatever you can call, they are not the greatest fan base in the world. That was the afternoon that after their seats hadn't been taken, and I made a remark, and somebody said, "Well, there's a train strike on." And I thought, that's weird. The same train strike is on between Liverpool and London as is on between Manchester and London. And we've sold every last ticket we've got. Proper supporters, really are. And then, I think it wasn't long before that didn't their stewards, just stand by while some of their fans were thumping our fans, and you could go on forever. They must admit that I admire the way they built a little mini stadium for the women outside, but again, that's not down to the Pep and his crew. But as I say, I'm going to be struggling on Saturday watching the FA Cup final, because for the first time ever, I'm going to be hoping United win, just to shut them up for an hour or two. Because if they get the double again, that'll be another historical moment that nobody else in the history of anything has ever done. I was so pleased when they got knocked out of the Champions League this year, because you'd never have heard the last of it. They definitely think that they are the greatest team in the history of everything, and they aren't. They're manufactured, and their day will come one of these days.
Yeah, look at the Anfield though. Don't get drink all this.
Yeah.
Good evening, Frankie, Francine, the Anfield voice, and JK. Hello all. Now drink these.
That's right.
I like it. Sadly, I'm stuck with this mug of tea that my dear wife just brought upstairs for me. So I'm quite happy.
Oh, yeah, look at that, eh? Oh, blimey. There's our Romanian friend. Good evening, says Ali Noose. Big Red, is Ali. He's Romanian. Absolutely brilliant. We welcome everybody. We really do. Keegan was my, says Tony. Keegan was my first hero, then Kenny, but Gerrard, the greatest LFC player in my lifetime. It's great to have. We're all on the same page, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, let's say that
every one of us are on the same page. Let's be honest.
One of the joys of being old, like what I am, is that I've seen all these people. I can remember, the team that won the league in the early '60s. I watched them, and I've watched every great team since. We've had a few, and this the only thing is nowadays you've got a squad, not a team. But I think, one of these days we'll go back to having a team again. But we're just so lucky that we've been around Liverpool in the era we've lived in Liverpool. Not just not just the football. Obviously, that we're old enough, you and me, Frank, to remember the Beatlemania, Mersey beat era, and now we've lived through all
that loads of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
George, who was your boy or hero? Liverpool.
Me.
Yeah, I'll tell you who mine was. I'll tell you who mine was. And when you get an idol, they're great. You know what I mean? They're great.
Yeah.
And it was the Saint.
Oh yes.
Saint. And we became friends, as you know, George.
I know. Thanks to you, I got to know him the last few years of his life.
Yeah.
I can remember,
do you remember coming up to the house and we were all in the garden? Wasn't that a
pictures in my book, if you look closely. And one of the greatest occasions of my life was that night we had a do for him at the Devonshire, wasn't it?
Oh.
And I had to give a speech.
Yeah.
So, I'm talking about the Saint, and he sat there watching me, and that was so weird. I thought, how the hell I ended up here doing this? I remember at the end, I rambled on for God knows how long, but so the bottom line was that for different reasons, he gave my dad and me on different occasions the greatest day of our lives. And he stood there, and I went over and he shook my hand and thought, this doesn't, life just doesn't get any better. This is the Saint. And I was so sad when he passed away. I thought he was immortal, but he wasn't. He had a bad time health-wise, hadn't he? But God's the Saint. He was, what did Shank say? He wasn't just the best centre forward in the country. He was the only centre forward.
Centre forward in the country.
Yeah, that's right. And you can still see him. Again, it's like that Trent corner. If you shut your eyes, you can see him flying through the air, scoring that goal against Leeds in '65. The best ever.
It wasn't like a forward. He never went forward like you normally go. He had to go back for it and put up the power.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Absolutely amazing. And he put power into that header. And that was the Saint for you. It's just a lovely man. Who was yours, JK? When you were a kid, who was your little idol?
I would say John Barnes and Steven Gerrard. Them two. For me, if I had to choose one, it would be Steven Gerrard. Just the way he, sometimes like a one-man army, and the way he started to fight every game, and I think he's a very good idol for the youth players of Liverpool to look at Gerrard and how he played football. I think you can't go no wrong there,
No, you can't. You really can't, because we're such a, we're blessed, as George said. The Shanks. Then we won a European trophy for the first time with him. We should have won the European Cup after the Inter Milan game. You know that, George. We should have won it in
absolutely.
And when you look at, then the Bob Paisley, he came along, and then Joe Fagan, won a treble. Then we go and had Kenny, and Kenny won a double. He nearly got us a double, if you remember. And then we had those lean years. And then Houllier came along. And then, wow, he did remarkably well in 2001. Then, unfortunately, he took ill with the aorta. And then, I think then it started to wane because, his health was given away. And then we went on a little thing, and then Rafa came along, and he brought us back up again. Then he left. Then we went on a rather 6 or 7 year lull after Rafa left, a lull. And, nothing against Roy Hodgson, he just never fitted. Then we had the Irishman, Brendan, and he came in, and, he just wasn't good enough. And then this man, Jurgen Klopp, we knew that he was a great manager. There was no doubt about that. We knew that we had someone special. But how long could it take? And when he came out and said, give me 4 years, that's what he said, give me 4 years. And within that, that 4 years, he delivered. He delivered. And he delivered unbelievable. He's won every single cup any club can wish to win. He won a lot, even a World Club Cup. Incredible when you think what he did. And this is Jurgen Klopp. And he promised. And he delivered. I've never known anyone to deliver that. I've never known anyone to say that and deliver it. Just love the man. I love all our managers. Every one of them. I love them. They're the managers I mentioned, by the way. The managers from the Shanks to Paisley to Fagan to Kenny to Rafa. I love them. Julia, was all right. And Jurgen Klopp. His name is there. Do you think, though, I'll go to you, JK. I'll go to you on this. Do you think that a statue should be made?
For me, 100%, because he gave nearly a decade to us and he won nearly everything. So for me, that's like suffice for him to get one outside Anfield. And I would have that fist bump pose for it as well, because that sort of replicates who he was, a fighter. So it's a no-brainer for me. And also, I would like to see some sort of flags in the Kop next season, sort of showing their thankfulness towards Klopp. I think that would be a nice touch.
What about you there, George?
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole. The next few months are going to be weird all around, aren't they? I mean, it's like we lost our dog 12 months ago, and I still once in a while I'll turn around and talk to the dog and realize she's not there anymore, and it's going to be weird turning up to Anfield, with no Jurgen around, and he just. Because of his routine about coming out, watching them warm up and all the rest of it. But as I say, I'm sure the people who are responsible for making memorials for people will have him at the forefront of whatever they're doing. There's plenty of room around Anfield, and obviously there's that banner with the faces of all the winning managers across it. He's on the end of that already, so it's one of those things. We're never going to forget him. We can't replace him. But whoever comes in is going to be completely different. It's got to be their own man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, one of the lads says, Steve, Francine knows more about football than those clowns on other pods. That is Redmond, Anfield Shaw, other etc. But she does, George.
Yeah, I know.
I've got 2 grandsons, and they're brilliant. They know everything. From little kids, and they know. And they go to the game, and James, I thought he was coming on tonight, but because his mother has got a gig, She said, I couldn't bring him down, Dad, and, bring him home. I've got this gig. She's a smashing kid. And now Ben's over there. Tony, talking of youngsters, I want to go to you there. I want to go to you, George, on this. Because you've seen kids, like going back years and whatever, and what you're doing and everything else, and you've seen these. You mentioned Phil Thompson making his debut, and Phil Thompson, he hardly gets a mention. Do you know what you're talking about? He was brilliant, Phil Thompson. He could tackle, he could pass.
Yeah.
Go ahead, JK. What was you going to say?
Yeah, Phil Thompson doesn't really get the limelight as such, but for me, a great character. He's always been Liverpool first, and he's won things with us. So yeah, it's a bit mad.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Tony says, and I want your take on both of you, obviously, George. Talking of youngsters, I think Dan's could be a gem, George.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've not seen much of him in first team action, but what we have, he doesn't look overawed by the the situations he's been thrown into. And there's, as I say, it's a wonderful way of going about things. We've got an academy who's producing. We've got kids coming through, and not only does it do well for the finances of the club, it also says to every single kid who turns up to the academy, you've got a chance. There used to be the case that if a kid playing in the reserves or the youth team or whatever, their chances of getting through to the first team were very slight because they'd just be coming through and somebody would get bought, somebody would pay a lot of money for somebody in their position. But that's changing now. I think, obviously that it suits the board. I imagine that all these kids are coming through. But if they keep doing what they're doing up at the academy, they all deserve medals like the first team. The only downside at the moment in my Liverpool football in life is the recognition that the women are getting. They've their manager Matt Beard won the Manager of the Year award this week. They've come forth having come out of the women's championship last week, but they're moving to a new ground. They're going to start using St Helens rugby ground, aren't they, next season? But look on the telly, and there's Arsenal and Chelsea, and they're using the first team stadiums, and they're getting. I mean, Arsenal have had 60,000 people at a women's game. Why? What are they doing that we're not? I want to know. I'd love to see, the day come when they were sharing the limelight with the with the men. And I do hope it'll come, because I know they're all supposed to be using Kirby and being part of the setup. And I think they've got to be happy because they've got Melwood to themselves now. Because I know I went to the old training ground. It was Tranmere's training ground, which basically was a school playing field on the Whittle. So things are coming along, but I'd love to see the guys that run the finances just do a bit more for them. I really would. But as I say, the academy, they're doing a fantastic job now. They're bringing some great kids through, and they're schooled in the Liverpool way, and they get into the first team. I mean, the kids who came on in the Carabao Cup final, you're thinking, these lads, they're hardly out of school, and there they are. They're playing at Wembley in front of however many in holes now. Is it 90,000, 84,000? And they played their part. They really did. There were no, there were no weak links in the side, and we did the business against Chelsea that day. We put them back in their box for a few weeks. It was wonderful, and the future, as they say, looks bright.
It does look bright. Do you think that to be honest, I'm saying this, if Jürgen was still with us, I'm just saying this, and always gone.
Yeah.
I'd say we were gelling last season.
Yeah.
The season just gone. We were gelling. We were only gelling. And look what we did.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Look what we did. Now, and this is what's frightening, we could be in another transition period, which is no good for anybody. If Jaeger was with us, we wouldn't, because he'd know exactly what he needed to buy. JK?
I have to agree with you. I think seeing Kwanzaa and the right back, Elliot, all sort of improving their games, I just wanted to see what comes next season, you know. Football has changed in many ways because when you look at Chelsea, for example, they put a lot of effort into their youth system because later on they can sell them for 10, 15 million, no problem. So it's more of a business sort of side of it, you know. It costs you nothing to sign up a youth player. You pay them their wages, very basic wages, and they can become either a gem or they sell them on. So that's why a lot of youth players are getting chances nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel football-wise, I think that is one part of the season I did not really like, is where I realised Klopp's brought these guys in now to take over the injured guys, and they've done a top job. I just want to see what comes next season. And I think that really, I hope Slot works together with the players and works out who people like Kwanzaa getting game time, Elliot as well. You know, for me, probably the players of the season, them two guys. So the future looks good for Liverpool. I think Bajcetic also coming back, hopefully.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've forgotten about him, sadly, because he got injured. And when he got injured, he was being a little star, wasn't he? And then we thought he was going to settle in and stay in. But he came back on the other day, and he's fit and well. So hopefully next season could be a big season for him.
You know, when I first seen Bajcetic play good, he did this turn at Villa Park where he just turned his body, and I just knew there and then he's a good player. It was just that simple move he did in that game, like on the halfway line. You see that in some players, you know, like simple things like that, and you sort of paints a picture, you know. Me and Frank are not really data guys. We're more, how does he look on the football pitch? So I hope Bajcetic next season gets the opportunity and sort of fights for his career now.
Herbert Lom's brother. Is that one of the greatest names you could ever come across? Herbert Lom's brother.
You do realise most of the audience haven't a clue who Herbert Lom was.
Exactly.
I do. Dear God,
I was just going to say, George, you know, when you're watching an old film, you and your wife, you know, with a nice little cup of tea or a glass of wine or whatever, starring Herbert Lom, you'll think of him. You'll think of him.
That's a very good point. I mean, Fabinho, he was a rock, wasn't he, at the back? And we haven't replaced him. We really haven't. We need somebody who can do what he used to do. And he was another class act almost in the same league as Virgil, because he took no prisoners. I like watching Endo, but he's physically not as big as Fabinho was. And I say every week it suddenly strikes me that Endo's playing, because he's like Steve Finnan used to be years ago. He get on with his job, and he nothing spectacular. He just do what he was supposed to be doing, and he did. He was very effective. He probably the bargain of the season.
And for me, he was probably the most important player in our team at a stage. You know, just before we got injured. Without him, we looked totally different. With him, we're going to win this game, you know. But respect to him for what he did.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying he was very vociferous. I'll tell you who else wasn't replaced really. Ginny Wijnaldum. Ginny Wijnaldum, to me, he never seemed to get injured, George.
No.
He never seemed to get injured. And then all of a sudden he was gone. And then, he wasn't really replaced.
No.
I always remember going back to Xabi a lot. Was it Xabi? No, not Xabi. I'm sorry. always go back to Mascherano. Mascherano was never replaced.
He was.
Mascherano to me was one of the greatest DMs I've seen.
Yeah, he was tempted away by the money, I suppose, wasn't he? Because I know, he was when he came to us. We only got him because he was having the trouble, wasn't he, with the situation at West Ham, and but the time we had him, he was rock solid at the back. Again, really put a shift in every game, put his body on the line in the same way that Carey used to, and he took no prisoners. That's the thing. You need one player like that, who can snuff out the opposition and let our creative players do what they're supposed to do, like Suey used to do. I remember somebody asking Ian Rush when I was sat there. We were in Sweden, and somebody said to him, "What was your favourite captain?" Without blinking an eye, he said Suey. He said he knew you were a proper captain. He was on your side. He'd kill for you if you had to, and he came close once or twice too. But he, great guy to have in your team. And
I think Tommy Smith was a great fella.
Oh yeah, he was.
Tommy Smith.
Again,
sorry.
Proper old-fashioned footballer in the 90s, and that's not meant to be slagging off. That's a compliment to him.
I think he was underrated because he was a great tackler.
Yeah.
He was one of the hard men along with the likes of Norman Hunter, the likes of, but he was a great passer of a ball as well.
Yeah.
It was Tommy Smith. I thought, the Anfield Iron, I thought he was absolutely. I was talking to, I was at a function, and I was a judge alongside Mike McCartney.
Yeah.
I said to Mike, I said, the Anfield Iron, I said, was that about Tommy Smith? And he went like that. What do you think? I said, I'm asking you, was that about it? And he went like that. You're the historian, you work it out. That's what he said to me. But I found out that the A3 Iron was a tree.
Yeah.
In Aintree. And they pulled it down. They pulled it down the last 10 years. That's it. An oak tree, I think. I don't know what kind of a tree, but anyway, they pulled it down. And, so I still don't know whether it was Tommy Smith or this bloody tree. I just don't know. Paul Turner says, City giving us a guard of honour. We are the only side to stop them from winning 7 titles on the bounce. There's something wrong, no teams have it. Even when Man United were a great side, even when we were a great side, we couldn't do that. And, every time someone says about 7 titles, 4 titles, and 7 titles, I just think of that Lance Armstrong. I knew from the second victory that he was cheating somewhere along the line, and he couldn't detect it, but they found out. I always remember that that girl, the runner. I said, she can't run that fast. She cannot run that fast. She's on drugs. This is in the Olympics. And she was found out, and she died very young age. I think she was about 29. She died because of
Flojo, wasn't it? Yeah.
Flojo, was it? Flojo.
So yeah.
So sad, but Lance Armstrong and this lot, two totally different things, totally different. But when you look at it, it's so sad. Steve 25. Oh my God, the lovely voice of my LFC life, filled with nice feelings. Keep it positive and let's move forward. You never walk alone. Yeah, he's talking about you there, George. Wonderful. Dean O'Brien, international football has always been seen as an inconvenience for me, gets in the way of my true love, the mighty Reds.
All right. If you're not sticking up for England this summer, I think we all want to get behind Katarina Johnson-Thompson. If she wins...
Oh, isn't she brilliant?
Eh?
Yeah, she's great, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's a big Red.
Yeah.
Red, yeah.
Nobody's going to argue with supporting her, are they? During the summer. I just hope she does it. She was so unlucky at the last Olympics, but this one, we'd be cheering her on.
Oh, do you know who's just died, George? I don't know whether you know. David Wilkie.
Oh, I heard that yesterday, yes, the swimmer.
Do you ever remember Alan Weeks? We're all glued to the tail watching the Olympics.
Very well.
It's Wilkie! That's what you just hear. It's Wilkie! Oh, friggin' hell,
all these fellows who are, popping off now, they're all younger than me. That's what's upsetting me now. That's why I'm quite happy sitting in this chair talking to you. No stress.
Thank God for that. No stress. You get always the first questions.
It'll take me till August to get rid of the stress from the last few weeks at Anfield, and it'll all start over again. But you wouldn't swap it, would you?
Exactly.
Yeah, look at this for a banner, George. This is going to make you laugh. Dino Brian. Favourite banner: Speak Reds, go to Nou Camp. Speak Blues, go to Towan and Butland Camp.
Oh, I love it.
Come on.
Oh, I love it.
What do you think of that, JK?
If I understood it 100%, I don't. What is Speak? What is that?
The south end of Liverpool, now near the airport.
Oh, okay.
It's an upstate. Speak Airport, John Lennon Airport.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that fantastic? To Speak Blues. Don't you love this? I love it. Steve Evans, along with the hell one, that's the Grafton. Wine for my men, we ride at dawn. That's it. That was a cracker roll as well. There's so many banners, so many beautiful banners.
When I win the Euro Millions, which I hope will be tomorrow night, I'm going to have to open a museum for all these banners. They deserve their own, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Is that? Yeah.
Well, why can't our museum? I'm talking about LFC Museum. Have pictures of them taken, not in full size already, but and just have one massive display.
That's a very good idea.
Display. Even like that little black and white thing next to Liverpool, England are the greatest. To Shankly lives forever. And, going on about, if you think this is, I'll go to the Grafton on a Friday night. All these. Joey Jones munches grabbacks. Everything. And, even about the Speak Blues goes to Towan and Butland Camp. We go to Nou Camp and they go to Butland's Camp.
Yeah.
Come on, Dorothy. Lovely Dorothy. Banned book, that one, George. Hi, Dorothy. You said it. Thank you. I love Dorothy Langham, she's always on here. She always... Joking, George, it's a great read. Yeah, there you go.
I know where you live. I'll be round.
Yeah. We know the score, Dorothy. We know the score. Norman. It's not him, George. It's Norman. He uses his wife's thing. Thank you, George, for being the voice to us fans in the grounds over many years, including introducing me to many MUC, Man United, Man City. How's that? You must have said, a thing must have come up.
Yeah.
I think he sang, I'm sorry, not sang. I think he'd played one of Dennis Paparak's songs. I'm sure you did.
I do, yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Oh, good. Sure. That's ex-Papa. We know. You played it, yeah. Redbirds, although Klopp left us in a great way, Slot still has some work to do to get the best out of certain players. So I don't think it's going to be easy as some think for Slot.
I don't think it's going to be easy at all. Well, I think he's he's got what it takes. So please God, he gets on with it.
Liverpool FC vlogs. Hello everyone, hope you're all good. Still buzzing, Frank, with my mum meeting Klopp with her. Oh, gives a hug, yeah. Sign that he thought was right. He thought it was Gizzer, Gizzer, not Geezer, not Gizzer. She had a sign, Gizzer hug.
Yeah.
Last Sunday, and he went over it to vlog. And, it was great. He was asking, what's this? And she told him, and Gizzer, and he did. And he gave her a great hug. That was brilliant. That was brilliant. It's really, it was the best I've seen, actually. And he says, she's still buzzing now days later. That's lovely.
Not surprised.
Even the Redbird says, I saw that your mum was well made up. It was brilliant. We were all made up. Every single one of us were made up. And Dennis the Paparak says, statue plan B, Lallana jumping shirtless into Klopp's round. Do you ever, George, I think we played, actually, who was it? Was it Southampton away? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I forget who we played away. And it was a midweek, and we had to win. Yeah, I'm sure it was Southampton. And you see Mo, he got the ball came out, and he ran with it. Yeah. And he was players to the left of him, players to the right, but here I am, stuck in the middle with you. And he was bombing it down, and he just whacked it. He hit it in the goal, brilliant goal. And he ran, the way Mo goes like that, and he ran towards, he's just there by the goal. And you see, it's not half funny, you see Henderson running that way towards him, and you see behind him Robbo running behind him, and Robbo leaps to go on his back, but Mo ducks, he leaps into the arms of Henderson. I thought that was one of the most funniest things I ever saw. It's not happen. Oh, he just ducks. Robbo goes like up in the arms of Jordan Henderson. It was so funny. Well, I thought it was funny anyway. If nobody else did. Youssef, let's see what he says. City fans used to respect Liverpool, and then things got sour ever since we started competing with each other. Yeah, and that comes from Youssef, and that's right, because they loved us, or respected us, because we used to play Man United and beat them.
Happy days.
Legends of that's you, that's yours.
Being cut off. There we are.
They are resorting to all sorts of tragedy. Yeah. I'm just going to finish on these. This Chris. Happy birthday, Chris. This is the Montenegrin lad. Just escaped from a very small birthday party to join you and cause some trouble. Just joking. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Chris, if you're still with us. Let's finish. Such a great player, Saint. Lovely fella. I always remember that church poster saying, what will we do when Jesus Christ comes and some wag goes underneath? Moved St. Johnson inside right. Much missed. Carries a sports card alongside Tomo in my bus class. Isn't that lovely?
Absolutely.
Isn't that a lovely little comment? Oh, we'll finish on these. Let's just go straight down. And for me, the squad 78, 79 midfield of Souness, Ray and Terry Mack with Kenny between the lines was the best I've seen. Won Big Ears twice. He's so right. As much as Enzo did his best, but he isn't the player, but fabulous. Redbird. You're right, Norman. You could be right. I guess only time will tell. In the meantime, I hope Slaughter's a success. Richard Hutchison says Mascherano, so he agrees with me. Paul Taylor. Steve Highway was underrated. Yeah. And I've got to go right down. I didn't realise. We had a psychedelic scientist. Psychedelic scientist. One thing I like about international football is that Southgate has had the guts to give Trent a chance as a midfielder. Yeah, you're right there. You obviously agree with that, George.
Yeah.
Jay, this is MNX, Jay. Even if Frank, what a ride Jürgen took us on, but they don't last forever. It reminds me of the corkscrew in Alton Tower. And Richard Hutchison, Willie Slaughter.
Grown.
Yeah, and that's it.
Music all died for him.
Yeah. I met George, says Norman, introducing me and other fans in ground to musicians I'd not heard of before. Yeah, you know, like musicians that he hadn't heard of when you've been playing there.
Oh, yeah. I'll do my best.
Yeah. And I'll finish on this. And it's Chris, you know, from Monty. Banners. I recall being in Athens for the final. This big central city park had banners hanging between every tree, and the locals just walking between them, amazed at our wit. Isn't that lovely?
Fantastic.
And George, I've got to thank you. I really have, you know, for coming on tonight with Francine and myself and JK. It's been a great. Will you come on again if Francine sends you the link when she comes on? You will. You can't resist.
No. Sorry. What
Go away. So anyway, George, it's been a great pleasure. It really has. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, Frank, as always.
Thank you so much.
Great talking to you, George.
Cheers, JK.
Nice to meet you.
And you.
And next season, what is your prediction for us? Title charge?
Yeah, that's a good question. We'll, you know, I don't bet on things. But I'd just like to see us, you know, consolidate. Basically, you're talking about transition. It shouldn't be. If Slaughter's as good as people think he is, he'll hit the ground running, and you see, the big thing I'm looking forward to next season is the FA and doing what they say they're going to do and charge Manchester City with all these offences and see what happens. That could be.
What do you think will happen, George? Before you go, what do you think will happen? Say like they will. Say you know.
Find them guilty, that they've got to, there's no good finding them because they've got unlimited money, so they've got absolutely got to relegate them at the very least. They've got to do what the Scottish FA did to Rangers, and
what the Italian Serie A did to Juve.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
Put them right at the bottom of their league.
It's just got to happen.
Well, do you think? Well, if they're going to be found guilty, and it goes back, I think
Yeah,
to
they've got to.
2016.
Yeah, I know. I
And
said that's been my big worry all year is that we come second, City win it, and then in 6 months' time they get it taken off them, and poor Jurgen will have missed another big celebration at Anfield. As will don't forget when we won the league 2020, there was nobody in the ground.
Yeah.
There's 60,000 people missed out on celebrating their club winning the league. So I don't want that to happen again. Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed.
Well, Steve 25 says, thanks for all your great service. And that's about you, George. All my memories from Barnes, Rush to the present day have been with you.
I think a lot of fans are thankful for the job you've done for the club all them years as well, You've enjoyed your life there as well. So
I'm blushing now. Stop it.
Well, yeah, look, well, there's another one for you. JK will go along with me.
Yeah, I'm booking now for Panto, Paul. Get onto my agent.
Great to see you, George. Hope we see you again soon. You never walk alone. And he means on here, by the way.
Yeah, good luck, Paul.
And great show, Frank. Take care, all. You'll never walk alone, says Lee the Whiz Kid. Isn't that brilliant? Thank you, George.
Nice one, Lee.
I'm going to end. Don't forget Saturday morning, 11:30. JK.
Yep. Film.
We have a film on TV review, George. That's on a Saturday morning, and we talk about films.
United closing the shop on Saturday. I'll be watching that.
Yes, of course. Well, try and pop in and have a look at the thing. You don't want to be looking at Man United all bloody day in Man City. Anyway, I'm ending the stream now. George, once again, thank you so much. JK, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank all the chat.
Take care, guys.
To all the chat, thank you so much for keeping us all company tonight, and our Francine as well. Can't forget our Francine. Thank you so much, people. Thank you.